Or at least I hope I'm back. There we go. Much better. We are back again. Okay, cool. I'm gonna close this door real quick. Alright. What's going on, guys? Welcome back. I am back to the stream. I got everything set up, and today I'm gonna go over, guys, my overall impressions of the AYN Thor for about what? 2 weeks I've had this thing now, and I will tell you, it has ironically replaced my Steam Deck. Now, has it replaced my Steam Deck in ways that I thought so? Honestly, I never took my Steam Deck out of the house. The Steam Deck wasn't something that I regularly carried with me. I love the Steam Deck. However, I wanted something that was more portable, something I can take around with me. And as somebody who had a 3DS, a PS Vita, and all the other handhelds growing up, I was like, you know what? It's time to get something that is a little bit, crazy. Now, about a year ago, I had picked up the Amberneck RG34 XSP, and I thought, okay, well, that was going to be enough to sort of get my fix of gaming on a really small budget emulated device. And it turns out that while it did do it a lot, it didn't do me justice for the type of games that I wanted to do, which was PS2, GameCube, Wii. I don't really touch Wii too much, but mostly PS2 and GameCube and PC. So when the AYN Thor started coming around and people started reviewing this thing, I was like, okay, I got to get my hands on this and really test to see if this is worth the hype and worth the so-called money. Now, I got the AYN Thor Max Rainbow model, and what I can definitely say from the get-go, if you compare it with the size of a 3DS, I would say it is slightly bigger and thicker than a 3DS XL, but it is not quite the same in terms of ergonomics, nor screen size. Like, the screen size on this is obviously a lot bigger, and then the biggest difference, obviously, because it's not a 3DS, this is a Android-based machine. Now, the fact of it being Android is probably going to be one of those things that will either make or break this device for a lot of people, because this isn't a device that is a plug-and-play device. Is it take a little bit to set up? Yes. Is it take forever? Not quite. Depending on the amount of tutorials you're willing to go through, this is definitely one of those devices that I would say when you buy something like this, you want to be warned that you are going to have a bunch of stuff that you're going to have to play around and test beforehand. So this is definitely not a plug-and-play device. However, once you get things set up and once you start playing it, you kind of realize what it's capable of doing. And all the gaming experiences pretty much run very well. But then you have to remember at the end of the day that this is still very much a Android device. So once you get that, your possibilities of what you can do are practically like, oh god, I can do so much more than just play video games on this. You can actually probably edit full videos on this and download many different apps from the actual Google Store. So for me, I would say it took me about good 2-3 hours to set everything up off of this device, and then put out all the stuff that I had on an SD card and just plug it in. So it didn't really take super long, but I will say that where this comes in as a good supplemental device is, I feel like the AYN Thor complements the Steam Deck in a gaming laptop very well. And if you have a gaming laptop, chances are you are not going to be using it for just games, right? And you're not going to be taking that thing all over the place unless you really like lugging around a 16-inch laptop, which I have. But really, like, I don't even really like carrying around my Switch 2 very much. So I needed something that can play things portably, and I can just put it in a bag. Like, I still play the Switch 2 occasionally, but in terms of like the Steam Deck, I don't touch the Steam Deck as much as I used to. So that's been my thing. There's so many things I could ultimately say about this device that, you know, I think from get-go kind of threw me off. I have never really used an Android phone much. I'm mostly Apple. So having to get used to just the Android ecosystem and knowing what I need and what to get, it's a little bit... That was, I think, my biggest learning curve for all this. So what do I have currently on here? So to sort of show you guys what I set up on here is... I have two front ends that I'm currently using. I have Daishimo, and I have Isu. Both Isu and Daishimo are different front ends. Now, the big question that I want to answer right now is, do you actually need a front end? And the answer is, you really don't need a front end. Does a front end help? Yes. Would I recommend a front end once you get everything set up? I guess it depends on if you're going to be doing this more than just video games. And even if you do get a front end, it doesn't actually, like, inhibit any type of issues. So, instantly, like, just to put it to perspective, when you boot up the system, unless you automatically decide to launch into a front end like Isu or Daishimo, it will automatically launch into here. And all it really does is it gives you more of a consoleized experience. So when you first set it up, you'll want to get something like Obtainium, and you'll get all of the different apps that you'll need, the different emulator apps that are going to be critical to playing in games, such as Azahar, Melon DS, Artemis, Simu, and then DuckStation, and then Eden. I haven't really touched Eden much. My biggest focuses have been Nether SX2, PSP, PPSSPP, RetroArch, and Melon DS, and Azahar. Like, besides PC gaming, I don't really have a reason to play Switch games on here, nor do anything like too crazy with PCs, because I have other devices that kind of complement, take care of that. Like, I have a Switch 2. I'm going to play games on the Switch 2. But I didn't have a device beforehand that was capable of doing GameCube, Dreamcast, PS2, PSP, SNES, pretty much all of the old retro systems and more, and being able to put it in my pocket. It was either A, I have to, lug around my Steam Deck in a big old case, or just sacrifice the need of like, okay, well, I'm not gonna play those games. So, in terms of build quality, do I risk? The one thing I do wonder if I do regret not picking up is a grip. I can probably still get one, but so far I felt like I haven't needed a grip for this. But let's get into a couple games here, and I'll just show you guys some of the common settings here. So let's launch up DuckStation. So DuckStation, I got some PS1 titles I've been checking out. The most recent one I've been playing is Fighting Force for the PlayStation 1. And this is, I don't know, this game, I know it's not that difficult, but I've been having a hard time completing this game. And I'm just like, I don't ever remember it being this hard. Maybe it's the character that I chose. But right from the get-go, the thing that I love about games like this is the internal resolution for DuckStation is, like, superb. So, like, for instance here, if I go to settings, go to graphics, hardware Vulkan, 5 internal X resolution is 1080p. You could probably even push this up to 1440p, but I wouldn't push this to 1440p unless I was connected to a docking station, and I had this on my bigger monitor. But you can easily go down to 3x 720p if you want to preserve battery life on this, or 1x if you really want to go back to the good old days where you're playing PS1 games at a really crappy resolution. And just to kind of give you a really good comparison for it, here, let me turn the volume down. There we go. Now, if you're running this through RetroArch, you could probably turn around and make some adjustments to filters. So if you want like a CRT filter, you can totally add that to this. Now, what I would recommend doing when it comes to something like this is, I know some people are asking, well, what about the 4:3 aspect ratio or 16:9? I personally like leaving it at 4:3. I feel like that the black bars on the side, especially this being an OLED screen, doesn't actually detract from it. And it doesn't even ruin my experience from playing it. But if you by some chance wanted to stretch this out and make the resolution by some chance, just, I don't know, just, you can probably go and widen it out, increase the, yeah. Some games will work with widescreen rendering, others won't. And there is a stretch to fill button. I don't know if I would actually recommend doing that, but just to show you guys how it looks, yeah. It doesn't look great if it's stretched out. These games look a lot better, at least PS1 games look significantly a lot better, in my opinion, at the 4:3 aspect ratio. You can get away with this, but this is just personal preference. I'm going to switch it back to... I'm going to switch it back to the other one real quick. And I got to check. I haven't been reading the chat, but I want to see if anybody's saying anything. Hey, how you doing? Good to see you. So, let me go back here. Aspect ratio. Have you tried changing the intro when you boot up to the Thor to custom one instead of showing AYN? I actually haven't. That's a really good question. I haven't bothered trying that, and that's something I might end up checking out and might end up doing a video on it. The reason I haven't done it is I didn't want to spend too much time tweaking the system. I wanted to kind of just get right into playing games, but the best thing about a system like this is you can kind of tweak it the way you want it. But no, I haven't really tried that. The one thing I will say that I have done, even though I'm not a huge fan of the ones available, is I have toyed around with the wallpapers. So to kind of like show you some of the wallpapers, if you go over to Wallpaper Engine, it gives you basic ones, but you can change the wallpapers on top. I have played around with some of this, but I haven't really imported any that I am pretty much excited to say, hey, look at my new AYN Thor running this really cool custom artistic wallpaper. I kept mine pretty simple, but I am very curious to see if I can turn around and change some intros, and I probably will get into that later. So, I'm sure that one of the biggest reasons why a lot of people have come in here, besides me talking about and yapping about the AYN Thor and just gushing over it, is a couple of other things that I want to talk about. First off, how do you record gameplay footage off of the AYN Thor? And I'm talking internally, because one of the things you can do is, because this is an Android device, obviously, is if you wanted to record games and actually, like, I don't want to say live stream, but if you were going to run a gaming channel, playing different titles and doing it all off the AYN Thor, and you weren't going to show your face, you were just going to have straight gameplay with commentary, you can do it directly through the AYN Thor. And what's great about that is, by doing that, you would just have to swipe here, bring up this menu, and then you would go to screen record, you would have the top screen, and then you would choose to record device audio or device audio and microphone. And I had thought about doing this for when I am recording things on the go and I don't really want to, bring my capture card with me and do all that. And then what's great about that is you can record the top screen or the bottom. Now, is there a way to record both? I have no idea, and that'd be nice if there is a way in the future to record both. But as of now, you can't really record both. But I'm gonna hit record. It'll do type countdown, and then it'll make the sound effect, and then you're actually just recording your gameplay on the top menu. Let's see. Next question. How do de novo protected games play on Thor? I want to play newest Mega Man, but it is de novo or protected. I actually don't know. I mean, a lot of the games that I own on my Thor are actually from my Steam library. So I am not one to be like, oh, I know everything about like the different DRM protections. But what I will say this is Game Native has some ways, I guess, getting around or working with the DRMs to kind of like make sure that you can actually play it. Not every game's going to work, and I wish I could access the store through here, but I can't. However, a couple of things that I'm curious is, let me look it up. What are some de novo protected games? Because I may end up actually doing let me demonstrate something. What are de novo? You did bring up a good point, because, I mean, I am very much curious now. The main issues that I have ran across with PC games is I don't know, would I say it's DRM? I would say it's a mix between the DRM and just finicking with and like tinkering with the settings, because there's a lot of different like drivers and things to do. So let's see. Let's do a test here. I'm looking at de novo games since I can get a good test to see if I might try and start one up. But yeah. Star Wars Outlaws. I'm trying to find something that I might have. Monster Hunter Wilds. I'm not installing Monster Hunter Wilds or Borderlands, or those are way too much space right now in here. All right. So, let me stop that recording real quick, even though I probably shouldn't. One of the things I guess they'll test out is some of the ones I have installed right now. So, a couple games that I have installed. I have Alan Wake, American Nightmare. This one I may end up testing out right now just to kind of show you. So, for Alan Wake's American Nightmare, first off, let's check the settings. Proton ARM chipset 1080p. I could probably put this at 1080p, and then CPU drivers look like they're set at in number 7. I have found out that it works well with some of these DRMs, but I don't specifically know. The one that was giving me a lot of trouble, here's the one I will say that was giving me a lot of trouble, was Rockstar Games titles. Because Rockstar Games obviously has their own like launcher, and in order to bypass that launcher, you have to almost like force it into the Steam library or the Steam client and then install all that. So that's kind of what I've noticed. But typically when a game like this does not boot up right away, as you guys are seeing here, I usually will exit the game and see if there's anything that I can do to, see what's causing it. Now, sometimes when installing a game, you'll notice that there's something called known config works on your GPU. I don't know if the used known config is automatically there, so I'll typically just set it to that, and then just make sure that's all set up, and then I will launch it again. It's usually trial and error for PC games. In most cases, I haven't really, had too many issues getting them to work once they start. But this here is Alan Wake's American Nightmare. And, yeah. I'm going to continue the story. Save games. And then one of the great things is once you install it, it will actually carry over your saves. And just sync your Steam saves. Yeah, I'm probably gonna have to record more of this later, but my biggest thing, let me shut one of these lights off. Let me see if I can turn off one of these lights. Maybe not work. There. No. Maybe not. I can't tell. Alright, that's a little bit better, actually. Cool. Now, in order to bring up your performance, bring up your general performance. Oh, wow. This is actually running at almost a solid 60 FPS. Actually, it's running higher than 60. Interesting. Seems like it's running higher than 60. All right. And then I'm actually going to record the gameplay off of this. So let's do this. Let's just do a system record. Device audio. There we go. Now, obviously, I would expect a game like Alan Wake, the first one, not the remastered, to run pretty well on this particular device. Just because of the fact of how old this game is. But where am I going? It's been so long. Explore the diner. Let's head to the diner real quick. I need to get a different camera position. The light from above me is bothering me. It's got too much of a glare.
A poltergeist. Its existence is one of rage and hostility, and its very presence turns ordinary objects into deadly projectiles. Oh, shit!
Oh, God. Oh, no. Well, let's head right into the diner.
The scene. Traces of violence. A careless midnight snack. A room key left carelessly behind.
But from my own perspective, in terms of like the OLED display on here,
The motel
even at 720p with some titles, I find that it looks pretty good at even 720p. Now, it's obviously noticeably sharper at 1080, but for the AYN Thor, playing old titles like this will be most likely the ideal situation. Like, you're probably not going to want to throw, you know, the latest Call of Duty on here if it even runs. Now, you can stream it. You can do cloud streaming for the latest Call of Duty, but yeah, I wouldn't download Call of Duty. I wouldn't download The Last of Us Part 1 on here. I wouldn't put anything overly super demanding on this particular system. And the primary reason why I wouldn't do that is not just because of the amount of space that it takes. It's just that ergonomically and even playing those type of games on something like this, I don't know how comfortable and how well the battery life will last on that. Oh god. Exploring this. There we go. Boom. Oh, jeez. Can I, like, get past these guys? There we go. I died. I died.
Damned by forces beyond her control, as much as by her own actions.
Let's run over here. Check out the motel room. I don't know where to go. Now, one thing I do love here is, say you are done playing a game for now and you actually don't want to, close the game out. You have the ability to suspend it. One of the best things, I mean, I think you can do that with Game Hub and Game Hub Lite, and Win Later, but I love the fact that you can just suspend a game and pretty much close the menu, close the window, come back to it later, and just suspend it, and then be able to like play your game later, and then all right, there we go. Okay, is there a way to fix the? All right, there we go. All right, is there a way to fix this? One of the things that I've been wanting to fix is, hold on. Interesting. Well, it seems like it's, Well, it is working. I'm trying to figure something out right now. Output. portrait. Interesting. I gotta log back in. One of these days I need to like sit down and figure out some other stuff with this. But yeah, now I'm back. I figured I'd do a couple more game tests, and we'll probably end it after I finish up some of these. But yeah, the reason I might end it is just because I don't like this glare, and I have to set some stuff up, unfortunately. Oh well. But let's launch Isu real quick. So Isu is one of the front ends that I've been really thinking about maybe getting into more. I haven't really played around with this one as much as I wanted to. But I do love the aesthetics of this, like, big time. And it hasn't scraped all of my my game data yet. So yeah. Shit, I may end up having a... Let me do one thing real fast. Let me end this stream. Or end this game. I'll probably have to play this later. This one. But, let me know if there's any games that you'd like to see on here, because I have over 757 games. Now, not all of them are mine, but some of them are my brother's, and I would say I got about 500 of them. But I've been meaning to try and store or like download and install some of these, so I'm totally open to check them out. I've been trying to get State of Decay working on here, and I don't know why State of Decay is just not relaunching properly. I don't know if it's because of this. I'm going to try it one more time and see if the changing the CPU to add 7 will fix it, but something tells me I don't think it will. Like, this is one of those games where it says it works. I kind of wanted to play to see if it works, but I don't know for certain if it's going to actually, like, run properly. I don't know what the wrapper is, what I need to change the wrapper or the drivers to. Like, I don't know if it's DirectX. I don't know if it's the turn-up. Yeah, let's see. Like, Wine version is at Proton 9 ARM. I don't know if 8664 will work. I could try that. If that actually makes it work, I will be very shocked. Nope. Crash. Crash dump error. So yeah, like, as you see, there's plenty of games where it's just trial and error to see what works, what doesn't work. And you're not going to always have, like, the... You're not always going to have the game work on the first try. Like, Turnip, R8, RB4, I'm not sure what that is. I could try Turnip. Let's try Gen 8 V5 and see if that works. Literally trial and error. And if you are into somebody and you do not want to play trial and error and you just want to play games and not have to worry about them, then I will say PC gaming, this device may or may not be for you. You may want to look more deep into a Steam Deck whenever they go back on in stock, or you may want to just stick with, you know, a traditional console experience if you're looking to play anything higher than, you know, a couple, you know, PC games that you may not be able to run on this, or just play them on PC and stream them here. Because while PC emulation is getting a lot better on Android, it's still not 100%, but it is still very much like in a testing phase. It's a very fast testing phase, don't get me wrong. Like, it is moving super fast. Some of the games that I've tried last week didn't work, but I tried them again 1 week later and they worked. So I don't know if it's just my settings or not, but there's plenty of titles on here that may not work one day, and then a couple days later, or even a week later, oh well, we found a fix for it, it's compatible. So that's one thing to take in mind. But if you're not somebody that wants to wait for any fixes, or you are buying this to be specifically on PC, I would say you might be a little bit disappointed. But if you're buying this for everything else, if you're buying this for Switch, if you're buying this for Wii U, if you're buying this for PSP, PS2, 3DS, DS, PS1, every other system, this is going to be great. Well, does PS3 and Xbox 360 work on this? I would say it's very well that it works, but it's not perfect. It is just starting to get better. So that's one thing I would definitely keep in mind if you are somebody who doesn't have this yet. Now, whether most of these games run on the base or the Pro model, I couldn't tell you that. But what I will say is that if you are ever considering doing PC, going with the Pro minimum is your best bet, because the gigabytes in the base model is only 8. But let's try out something else. Let me try out... let's try out Deep Rock Galactic. Deep Rock Galactic. A commenter had commented on this one, and they wanted to see how Deep Rock Galactic runs on the AYN Thor. So here we go. Just to kind of show you guys the settings that I've got. I have pretty much them on Proton 9 ARM 64B. I have it at 1080p. You can start it at 720 if you are a little bit worried. I have all the CPUs pretty much the same. And then graphics, I have pretty much kept this at a DX Vulkan. So I'm going to launch it, and we'll see how it looks. It may say that the final components are required to run, which is Microsoft Visual C++. You're going to say yes. It's going to do its install. Especially if you've changed any settings prior to last running it, you'll have to go through this process again. And once this process is finished, it should launch the game. So I will have to show you that when it launches. And close. Looks like they're installed. And so if it launches, it should launch. Sometimes I think the settings may or may not work right away. But did I change anything recently? And this is what happens when you do things live. When you do things live, things mess up. Things don't work out on the perfect time. The perfect try. So I'm gonna back it out. And I'm gonna try it again. But this time I'm gonna go to use known config. And then I'll launch it that way. I'll say the same message, which it's a shame that I have to do that, but it's better than try not to do it again. All right. And then once this loads, we should be good. Oh, setup failed. Setup failed. Why did it fail? What the heck happened? It did. It worked before. It worked before and it failed. Damn. Well, that's lame. Yeah, I don't know why it failed again. Am I still recording on here? Yeah, I'm gonna stop it. That sucks. That should work. It worked before. And that, I think, is one of my biggest things that I find kind of annoying is something will work and, like, I'll mess with something here and then it doesn't work. But I'm going to change it to 720. Yeah, I don't know. It's so weird when things don't, like, you would think it would be work and it's like, nope. But maybe there's a reason. I don't know. It is weird though that just randomly doesn't work this time. I may actually have to do a completely new stream for game testing. When I do these streams, I don't really plan in advance, as you can tell. I mean, I probably should plan in advance. And when no one's around, keeping it engaging. I don't know why this failed. Oh well, I'm not even gonna try it. I'll have to reinstall it later. It worked before, but now I don't know why it's not working. So I'm gonna install that, and then I'll probably come back and reinstall it later. But there's plenty of games that I still have yet to finish. Like, I still need to get this set up. Grand Theft Auto 4. I want to see if that works. Daymare. This is a game. This is actually one of the first few games that I tried out on this device. And I was actually surprised to be like, okay, this actually runs at like 40, 50 frames per second. I'll play it on here. And for those curious, Daymare is like a Resident Evil, inspired game. So if you want something that's inspired like Resident Evil 2, Daymare 1998 is worth the purchase. Assassin's Creed works, but I have to get the controllers set up for it because the controls are butchered. Let's do Arcade Paradise. Let's see how Arcade Paradise looks. Now, Arcade Paradise I know works. I played Arcade Paradise plenty of times. Now, this is actually a really good demonstration here. So, say you're running a game at 1080p and you get this right here. It probably means that the game is being picked up at 720p. So what you're going to want to do when a screen like this is super small, you're going to want to go to video, and you'll want to change it to full screen window or windowed, or bump it up to 1080. Either one works, but I'm going to do it at 1080. And then I'm going to go and apply. Okay, well, Windows. It should work. Oh, I didn't apply it yet. Okay. And then you'll fix it up right there. So, Arcade Paradise is one of those titles that, I don't know, it's a cozy game in my opinion. I've never had any issues with this game whatsoever. If you ever wanted a game about doing laundry, this is it. $20 just for picking up the gum. But obviously, that the main purpose of Arcade Paradise is you're running a arcade business in the back of the shop. Now, if I'm correct, isn't there a mobile version of Arcade Paradise? Like, isn't this game also on Android and iOS? I know it's on Switch, and plenty of every console, but I don't know if this ever got like a mobile port. There we go. Gee, I don't even know. Where do I... Oh. There we go. And I am trying to... Let's do this. Get the lime. I think I'm supposed to... What am I supposed to get again? I don't know. The Yummo meter. I think I have to take out those, Almost got it. Come on, almost there. I'm not picking up that trash. Or picking your hair. Let's... I'm gonna check the chat real quick. Alright. Alright, let's quit. Let's leave. Yep. Well, we're done with this one. All right. Quitting out of that. Quitting out of that. But, yeah, I mean, I'll probably end up doing some more game testing on here later once I get things situated. I do want to do more of this, and I will probably test a lot more PC games and PS2 and PSP, but I just wanted to give you guys my overall impressions on this device, and I would say I absolutely love it. This has been sort of, it's complemented, if not replaced, my need to bring my Steam Deck everywhere, and I haven't really touched my Steam Deck since picking this up. But the prices in getting a Steam Deck or any handheld lately is just through the roof right now. So I don't know where I would recommend if you should put an order on this or not. I would say if you are looking at getting this and you just want to play DS, PSP, and all your retro titles, you will probably be fine with the base model. But if you want to aim for PC emulation, just do the Pro or the Max. you're going to be a little bit better with that. But I'm going to end the stream here. The stream kind of went, as I intended, but not exactly the way that I wish it did. Mainly because this is the first time I set this up to where it's a dual stream, where it's like streaming in both vertical and what is it? What am I saying? Vertical and horizontal. Yeah. Plus, I don't really do the streams very well. I'm not a huge streamer. I mean, I'll probably do them more, but as of now, I'm pretty much gonna end it. So,